following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee. It's Reaction Monday on Main Street Sports today. Joining us on the show to talk prep sports in Robertson County, Blaine Kellar. Also, Andrew the Earl Moore was in the building Saturday afternoon as the Titans fall to the Bengals. Reaction to that and an incredible NFL weekend. All that coming up. But first, here are your hosts, the Hall of Famer and Sports Writer of the Year, along with the Sundrop Kid from Alabama, Chris Yao.
Welcome into Reaction Monday. I am Chris Yao, joined as always by Mo Patton, and we are coming to you from the Lee Company studio, and glad to be doing so here on Monday. Of course, tough weekend if you are here in the state of Tennessee, but we're going to get over it. We're going to get through it. Just keep pushing on because, well, what other options do we have other than Saturday afternoon? Mo, how was your weekend?
It's all right. I mean, including Saturday afternoon, as it turned out. I mean, that's got to be the best 4 NFL playoff games in one weekend you're ever going to see. I mean, 3 walk-off kicks and an overtime. I don't know that it gets much better than that. Obviously, as we discussed last week, and I'm sure we'll get into it more later, we talked about Kyler Murray probably being the worst quarterback of the weekend. Well, I think this weekend, the worst quarterback of the weekend,
pretty obvious,
resides right here in Nashville, and that's a bitter pill to swallow.
No question. We are definitely going to get into it as we will react to all of NFL action from the weekend. We'll talk about the Titans in a couple of segments. We'll get into some weekend college hoops, lots to get into there, and some high school basketball action, as well as the Associated Press's top 10 released today. So we'll get into all of that in the show, and again, looking forward to it, Mo. Before we get to all of that and our top story for the day, why don't we give them some weekend results and today's very short schedule on the rundown?
This is the Rundown.
Let's do it.
The Monday Rundown is brought to you by Zion Christian Academy, providing a Christ-centered college prep education at an affordable cost. Call 931-388-5731 or visit zioneagles.org to schedule an appointment for a tour today.
High school boys basketball action from the weekend. On Friday night, Lawrence County defeated Marshall County 53-44. It was Loretto defeating Lewis County 73-45. Summertown with a 77-73 win over Giles County. Wayne County edged Richland 54-53, and Independence edged Franklin 51-49.
Summit fell at Ravenwood 57-41. It was Columbia Academy going on the road getting a big win against Webb School 69-66. Summertown defeated Mount Pleasant 78-50 on Saturday. And on Friday, Zion Christian got a 68-40 win over Frank Hughes, and then turned around on Saturday and defeated Covenant Christian 66-46.
In girls basketball action over the weekend, Friday night, Lawrence County defeated Marshall County 69-24. Loretto defeated Lewis County 82-9.
That's what I saw.
Okay. Summertown with an 81-28 win over Giles County. It was Wayne County 58, Richland 22. Frank Hughes with a 51-23 win over Zion Christian.
Franklin down to Independence 59-32 as Summit fell at Ravenwood 59-55. And well, that's a story that maybe we'll get a chance to talk about later this week in the Ravenwood girls basketball team. Columbia Academy fell on the road at Webb School 62-18. Summertown down to Mount Pleasant on Saturday 75-28, and Zion Christian defeated Covenant Christian 60-13.
High school wrestling action on Saturday. Summit went west and participated in the Christian Brothers duels, defeating Collierville, Ravenwood, and Houston in pool play. Brentwood Academy in the semifinals before falling to the host Christian Brothers team in the championship. So, congratulations to the Spartans, runners up at the Christian Brothers duels. In junior college basketball on Saturday, Columbia State women fell to Walter State 75-50. On the men's side, the Chargers defeated the Senators 56-48.
In NCAA men's action over the weekend, Middle Tennessee State continues its dominance at home with a 74-60 win over Southern Miss. Florida down Vanderbilt 61-42. It was 24th ranked Tennessee 64 over 13th ranked LSU 50, and Tennessee State defeated Austin Peay 65-61.
NCAA women's basketball action over the weekend. It was MTSU defeating Southern Miss 81-71. Tennessee Tech with the 57-55 win over Belmont. Austin Peay 72, Tennessee State 69. And number 5, Tennessee goes to Athens and gets a 63-55 win over 13th ranked Georgia.
NHL action, Preds with a big win over the Red Wings. Always good to beat Detroit 4-1. NBA action, the Grizzlies 122, Nuggets 118. That was on Friday. On Sunday, the Grizzlies fell to the Mavericks 104-91. They are, what did I say it was, JP? 15-3 or 18-3 over their last 21 games. And
2 of those 3 are to the Mavericks.
Correct. That's tough.
Yeah, in NFL divisional playoff action over the weekend. As we mentioned, the Cincinnati Bengals come to town, get out with a 19-16 win over the Titans. It was the 49ers 13, the host Packers 10, Rams 30, the host Buccaneers 27, and the host Chiefs with a 42-36 overtime win over the Bills.
Saving the weekend for the home teams.
Right.
Tonight's schedule is short and sweet. Franklin Road Christian is at Zion Christian tonight in high school basketball action, and at the Web at 5:30 doubleheader. Cleveland State travels to the Lady Chargers at 5:30, and the men will follow. Again, that is at Columbia State at the Web, and that's going to do it for your Monday rundown. Speaking of schedules, Mo, our top story today comes from South Carolina and Connecticut. UConn not having a great year, especially out of conference. And I'm not sure if it looks to me like South Carolina is the one who canceled this game, but I don't think Gino Auriemma is too upset, as South Carolina and UConn have decided not to play their women's game as scheduled.
Yeah, they were scheduled to play Thursday night this week. South Carolina has called off that game to wedge in a makeup with Ole Miss from a January 2nd game that had been postponed. I assume that game was originally postponed for COVID protocol issues. And, you know, what struck me about this situation is it kind of hits me a lot similar to the UT Memphis situation that we had earlier this month. I think UConn playing in the Big East now probably needed that game against a marquee opponent like a South Carolina more than South Carolina did. And so this was a game that was probably a pretty easy one for South Carolina to call off to make up their SEC matchup with Ole Miss. Looks like the Huskies are 11-4 overall, 6-0 in a Big East conference that isn't terribly challenging on the women's side, I don't think. So instead of playing South Carolina on Thursday, UConn is now going to play DePaul on Wednesday, according to an article that's up on The Athletic. That game had originally been scheduled for New Year's Eve, but was canceled due to COVID-19 issues within the Huskies program. So
click Huskies and see where it takes you. It's pretty funny.
Oh, Lord.
It's not UConn. It takes you to Houston Baptist.
Wow.
Anyway,
how the
I thought
mighty
that
have
was
fallen, huh?
right. You're right. And, South Carolina doesn't need this game. Ole Miss now ranked, by the way. Ranked Ole Miss women's team. I think it's the first time in school history.
No. It's not the first time in school history. It's first time in a while, but it's not the first time in school history. No, trust me, Van Chancellor would reach up and slap you. But no,
there was, and that may have been what I read. I saw a headline earlier about it, but nonetheless, South Carolina, UConn not going to play.
Yeah, Ole Miss comes in at number 24 this week. South Carolina still at number 1, followed by Stanford, North Carolina State, and the Lady Vols.
Yeah. It's exciting to see Tennessee basketball, Lady Vol basketball, getting some big wins. And we'll talk about that one later. But when we come back, it's high school hoops, the AP Top 10, and Blaine Kellar of the Robertson County Connection and the Main Street Preps North podcast joins us right after this, so stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back into Reaction Monday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, and we come to you from the Lee Company studio. Glad to have you with us, and hopefully we will get a chance to gain some more knowledge in this segment, Mo. When we kind of made this switch over, we thought, well, there are some things that we just don't know. And positive thing is we know some folks who do know about high school sports all around the mid-state, from all places north of us. Obviously, we got you covered from Loretto all the way to Independence, but I really don't have much of an idea what's going on, especially north of Metro. But Blaine Kellar is going to join us later in this segment, and that's that's exciting. So there's Blaine, and we'll get to him here momentarily. But before we do that, Mo, one of his teams, matter of fact, coming in at number 3 in the Class 3A poll, Greenbrier, 17-1. We'll talk about them later. But topping out, continuing their unbeaten streak in Class 4A in the AP poll, Beach, still not unanimous number 1, though, as Bartlett gets a vote. You go figure.
There's a lot, I kind of addressed this last week, and I figured that there would be a remedy that would come about this week. But, Columbia sitting here at 16-2, Columbia Central is. Independence 18-4. They play Wednesday night, by the way, in a big District 12 4A ball game. Both of them undefeated in district play. Central at 2-0, Independence at 3-0. But, I don't necessarily mind that they're not in the top 10, but they're not getting votes. I mean, they're not getting at least 12 votes. They're not getting at least 9 votes because Henry County came in at 10 with 9 votes. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. You and I talked about this last week, and it's like they've done nothing but prove to you that they did belong, and they've gotten fewer votes each week out. And now 14 people voted in this week's poll. And we went from 13 to 12. Now we're up to 14. So who knows, man? Who knows? But
congrats though to number 7 Summertown in 2A. East Nashville Fairview 1-2. Summertown 7, Pearl Cone 9 in 2A, and Santa Fe moves up from 6 to 5 this week in 1A. So that's then on the boys' side,
right? And then, did you say CA?
I did not say CA, but CA
they moved down, but
they lost to a really good USN team, and then they defeated a really good Webb team in Bell Buckle and dropped 2 spots.
Yeah, but in USN not getting votes, ironically. So who knows? On the girls' side, obviously Page, number 1. They are unanimous. Loretto also unanimous number 1 in Class 2A. Summertown coming in at 5th. And other teams of note, Huntland, who routinely plays several of our teams over here, comes in at number 5, and then Wayne County, who is in the District 10A, right?
Correct.
So
also East Nashville girls number 6 in 2A, and Stewart County, which I imagine is part of the Main Street North contingent, coming in at number 10 in 2A. So
there you go. So the class or the Associated Press top 10 polls are out, and you'll be able to find them, if not now, soon on MainStreetPreps.com. And speaking of Main Street Preps, we want to get to our Main Street North. Blaine Kellar joins us now at sports_BK on Twitter. And Blaine, thanks for taking some time with us. We are excited to learn about these Greenbrier Bobcats.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on here first off. And, I think probably if anybody wanted to talk about Robertson County basketball right now, it's Greenbrier. 17-1, as you guys mentioned, 3rd in the Class 3A poll with 1 first-place vote, a 15-game winning streak, and a really big district match against Creekwood tomorrow.
Sounds pretty exciting. What is the key to this team? What's the key to this program? Because I'm not familiar with Greenbrier being in this position on the hardwood in my memory. So,
yeah, Kenton Coleman, their coach, is now in his 5th year, and the most wins that he's had in his season was in his first year as coach. That was 17. I've already matched that to this point. At 17-1. This team can do a lot. They've got some nice shooters on the outside. Braden Rector can really light it up. Jace Mangram's gone for 30 at one point in the game. Bryson Merrill's one of their big men, but he can hit from beyond the 3-point line. But they also hit it from inside as well. It feels like every time I'm watching this team, there's something different I notice. One time it's the defense. During this winning streak, they've held countless opponents under 50, under 40, sometimes under 30. Another time it's points in the paint. On Friday, their final 31 points against Montgomery Central were in the paint. I don't know if I've ever seen that in a high school basketball game before. And then, the guys that I mentioned, Braden Rector, Bryson Merrill, Derek Taylor, who's a 3-star football guy, all of the depth as well. I mean, like I said, it feels like it's something different every time I watch them.
17-1 are the Bobcats. Their only loss coming back around Thanksgiving, a 69-65 loss to visiting Springfield, and a loss that they avenged on December 10th at Springfield with a 57-47 win over the Yellow Jackets. Also in that 17-1 run is a 65-44 win over an East Robertson team that features Ole Miss football signee Taylor Groves, who some of our Murray County listeners are familiar with because he came down here and hung about 39 on Santa Fe about a month or so ago, I think. So pretty impressive roster of victories for this Bobcat team.
Blaine, when I look at just the most recent game, let's take, for example, this Montgomery Central game. And like you said, it's something different every night. You got guys scoring 16, 14, 8, 8, 7, 7. It just feels like there's not one person that you can really, kind of try to slow down. This team really feels like it's balanced. Like you said, they can go inside, they can play outside. It really seems like this is a team that is built for long-term success, not just for a short time in the regular season.
Yeah, and Coleman, their coach, keeps continuing to preach, we're playing for the postseason, and I think any coach at this point is going to say that. But when you have depth like that, it really boils down to, you mentioned East Robertson with Taylor Groves. Some guys could say, some teams could say, let's limit Taylor Groves and let them beat us. But you can't really say that with Greenbrier. You can't say, let's not let Nolan Carson score. Let's not let Bryson Merrill score or Braden Rector score, because someone else is going to step up. And I think Friday's box score, as you mentioned, kind of reflects that.
Yeah, I want to continue. I want to talk a little bit about Taylor Groves. This is and I guess when's the last time you saw them against Joe Burns? Joe Burns not an easy place to play, by the way, and they're coming off a really successful season last year. What can we expect maybe long term or postseason wise out of East Robertson? Are they a team that can make some noise? Should some of our teams down here take notice, because we have some really good ones?
And I was talking to Coach Coleman about that on Friday. I was talking about his record a little bit. And as a 3A school, he has the expectation that East Robertson has a roster good enough to return to the state tournament. Let's not forget, back in 2020 when Taylor was a sophomore, I believe, just before the state tournament, canceled because of COVID, East Robertson reached it at that point. It's a different team this year, and it's kind of, as you guys saw against Santa Fe, let Taylor score the ball and, find any way to give Taylor the ball. But I feel like they've got the size that they could really match up with some guys in the region.
And just we've got some time left, and I want to talk about basketball. But since we're on the subject of East Robertson, are they still looking for a head coach?
Yes,
football coach.
It's my understanding that they are still looking for a coach. I think from what I've heard, the resignation of Coach Pond kind of caught some people by surprise. But he's on to the next big thing, and I'm not sure if he's even finishing the year at East Robertson. To be honest with you, he might actually just be going on to the next position.
Okay.
Blaine, shifting gears just a second on the girls' side, and again, we've got a couple of teams down here, Loretto and Summertown, that are 1st and 5th respectively in the Class 2A poll. I'm not sure how much you do with either Westmoreland or with Stewart County, but Westmoreland coming in at number 7 this week, Stewart County at number 10. And I would think that those are some folks that Loretto and Summertown might see at some point in postseason play. What can you tell us about those two?
Yeah, with Westmoreland, their girls team has been, and I'm sure Zach Womble, in Sumner County can tell you all about it. Elena Eagle has been the girl for them for the past couple of years. She's athletic. She can get inside and outside and scoring. And, on that other side with Stewart County, the Bramlett twins are a sight to see with Stewart County. I remember watching them a lot last year, and they can make a lot of noise, especially when region tournaments roll around. One of them is a go-getter, a go bucket scorer, but the other one's a defender. And, with twins, you kind of notice that. If you ever watch twins play basketball, one of them's a really great scorer and the other one's a really good defender because they've watched the other one score on them so many times. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's Carly Bramlett that was a 2-time, maybe 3-time district defender of the year. And then Caitlin Bramlett was a top scorer in their district last year, if I'm not mistaken. But, they're well coached. The Bramlett twins get it done, and they lost a couple pieces from last year, but I'm not surprised to see them in the AP poll.
Neither. I think they came down. Westmoreland came down here last year and played in the Summit Christmas Classic, Mo, and I think they played this year as well. I'm not.
Yeah,
very good basketball.
I think they've beaten Summit a couple of times this year, so they certainly don't mind playing up.
There you go. Hey, before we let you get out of here, Blaine, I want to mention, because some folks in our listening area, our former listening area south of here in Giles County, would care. Do want to mention Adarian Hudson, 1,000 career points for the UT Southern Firehawks over the weekend.
Yeah. Darian was I remember, and this is going to show my age a little bit. I was a senior whenever Darian was still a junior at Springfield High School. That's where I graduated from. So
gotcha. So you know all about Darian Hudson.
My favorite thing about Darian at that point was that every time you would walk in before school started, he was getting shots up. It didn't matter if they had played a game the night before or if they were just coming back from a long road trip or something. He's still up there before classes start, still getting the shots up. And it was interesting. His nickname is Dew. And I don't know it's a weird nickname, but we would call Springfield the Dew Center just because of how talented this guy was. And Coach Rochester at Springfield said the first open gym he had with him, he had never seen a guy move that fast with the basketball. And it's kind of shown at Martin Methodist and now UT Southern. He had a big outing against Austin P at the beginning of the year in a scrimmage, but it's really showing in his third year with the Firehawks.
That's awesome. Congratulations to him for reaching that 1,000 career point plateau for the Firehawks. And thank you, Blaine, for hanging out with us. Tell folks where they can find you on Twitter and in the podcast.
Yeah, sports_BK for Twitter. And then Brady McAtimney and I run the MSP North podcast. Should be a pretty fun episode next week.
All right. That is Blaine Kellar of the Robertson County Connection. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you down the road.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You got it. All right. When we come back, we're going to keep talking hoops, but it's going to move on up to the college ranks. So let's talk about Tennessee. Let's talk about Auburn. Let's talk about some Lady Vols. You see me repping my Vols stuff today because, well, it's about the only thing I can rep after this weekend. I wore my Pred stuff already. We'll be back on Main Street Sports today right after this. Y'all stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back into Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint, coming to you from the Lee Company studio. Mo, it was a good weekend outside of the Tennessee Titans. I mean, seriously, sure the Grizzlies went 1-1, but the Preds get a big win over Detroit, which is always big. I mean, anybody who's been a Preds fan for longer than since before 2017 knows that beating Detroit and Chicago are the two biggest wins you can have as a Predator. So
yeah, in terms of regular season victories, those are always huge. But it's kind of a, other than that, Ms. Lincoln, how was the show type thing,
Sure.
But yeah, that's a big win. Obviously, Tennessee's bounce back win over LSU after what happened down in Baton Rouge a couple of weeks ago is huge. And again, the number 5 Lady Vols now at number 4 with that win down at Georgia. I mean, it was a good weekend, like you said, other than the biggest event of the weekend. So
no question. Let's talk about that college basketball weekend because, okay, I'm going to tie this back into Tennessee here, and JP is going to be really excited that I do that because Auburn defeats Kentucky, right? They camp out the night before. They've got what they called it Pearlville, and Bruce came out and he was like, no, that's Jungle Town or something or another. I don't know. Because that's what they called the Auburn Arena, is the jungle. So, and one of my friends was like, oh no, Jungle Town is a small town in the county of Pearlville. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, good Lord.
Whatever y'all say.
Did Bruce bring pizzas out like Krzyzewski used to do at Krzyzewskiville, or?
I don't know if Bruce brought pizzas, but
I think, guys, Bruce actually went to a local establishment the night before where there were a lot of students and bought pizza for the house.
Gotcha. I know that I did see Harson was walking through and giving out high fives and all that stuff. I saw that. I did see a remnant tweet when the students left. There was trash quite strode everywhere. And someone said, what more could you expect from a school that throws toilet paper into trees and leaves it? Thought, well, there's that. Doesn't matter. Auburn gets the win now. Tata goes out with an ankle injury, and you can make all the excuses you want, but it doesn't matter. Auburn beat Kentucky, and the Tigers are now the number 1 team in the country. So what did Bruce Pearl tell his team today? Well, the last time I had a number one team, I went to Vanderbilt and got my butt kicked. So don't be getting too excited. You got to earn it each and every day.
They don't play Vandy this week, do they?
They do not play Vanderbilt this week, but you can rest assured that Bruce Pearl was letting his team know that getting the ranking isn't the big deal. Keeping the ranking is the most important part. So that's kind of a big deal for Auburn. I think it's the first time they've ever been ranked number one in
I'm sure.
AP poll, and they are followed by Gonzaga. Arizona got a first place vote, by the way. Tennessee moves up to 18th. LSU down to 19th, which is, well, fitting, I guess. Collectively, if you take the two scores between the LSU Tennessee games, if you take the two, Tennessee won by 2 points.
So they're one spot ahead of them in the AP poll, right?
One spot ahead. Makes sense to me. So there you go. Other teams of note in the poll, Houston is up to 7th. Alabama, who beat Gonzaga and Houston, both top 10 teams, out of the Shrine. They turned in their ring and the attack. Also,
and their feds, I guess, right?
I guess so. Number 22, Marquette. Number 18, Tennessee. You know what those two teams have in common, Mo?
Both coached by former Texas coaches.
Guess where Texas is? Not in the top 25. So,
well, that has its good points and its bad points, because I do believe the SEC Big 12 challenge is this weekend, and I do believe Tennessee goes to Austin in that. So
I'm not sure if it's this weekend because I haven't looked, but they do play Texas whenever it is, and that's going to be I mean, you could definitely point to that and say that's certainly some motivation for the Longhorns. Truth be told, I'm not sure that's going to matter too much. Maybe it will. We should probably talk about that Big 12 SEC challenge a little bit later this week. Maybe we can get Drew on to talk about it or something. Baylor comes to Alabama.
It's Saturday the 29th?
It is.
Then it's Saturday.
Cool. Number 4, Baylor comes to Tuscaloosa, and, well, I guess if you're a top 10 team playing Alabama, watch out.
Yeah.
Because that's about the only teams they're beating these days. Apparently, they did get a win over Missouri over the weekend. But anyway,
if they win that game, because Missouri was up like 13 at one point.
They did, in fact. Alabama came back and won the game. But the ability of Tennessee to shake off that loss down in LSU, come back, get a win at home. Kennedy Chandler looking like he's the best player in the country, coming out of high school, and just a really, really big night for Tennessee. They got, I think it was 11-0 before LSU finally scored.
I don't know. I was busy watching something else when
the
game started.
At halftime of the Titans game, I flipped over and I'm pretty sure it was 11-0 before LSU scored. So, it just goes to show that this Tennessee team, when they play to their potential, they're very difficult to beat, especially at home. Held LSU to 39% from the floor, 21% from three-point range, while shooting 35% from three-point range. Out-rebounded LSU. Turnovers were equal at 14. You don't want to turn the ball over 14 times, but you'll take 14 forced turnovers.
I'm just interested in the lineup that has kind of evolved for Tennessee, particularly Chandler, Ziegler, and Santi, because I'm not trying to pronounce his last name because I don't know what's right.
Apparently it's Vescovi. I don't know. If I know. But yeah, this is a very unique and balanced lineup because, Euros played 28 minutes and Kennedy Chandler played 32, but Ziegler played 17, Fulkerson with 14. Jordan Josiah James, 24 minutes. Of course, he didn't have a great game.
He's not had a whole lot of great games.
He really hasn't offensively, but defensively, he does give you he gives you something extra, and does a really good job on the boards from his guard position. So I give him some credit there. But this is big, and I hate that we don't have enough time. I guess I just mistook the break time, but Tennessee Lady Vols looking like the Lady Vols of old, going to Georgia and getting a big win over the Lady Dogs.
First time they've been 18-1 since 08.
Since the last national championship season, right? Since 07, 08. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. That's the thing, man. This team, I think they showed a graphic where the comparisons between those two teams were almost identical at this point. So again, Lady Vols making their way back, and big win over Georgia over the weekend, hoping that continues. It's halftime. Let's take a break, and I'll tell you what's going on in my world. We'll hear what's going on in yours, Mo and JP, right after this. So stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org, or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today, or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
So, I don't. You guys know that Charlie was sick this weekend, right? Like, she was bad sick. And drainage, fever at one time as high as 103. Just a kind of a tough cold to get over. She's fever free today and back to semi-normal, except she just wants to be held. Okay. So I don't know. Did you see the tweet I put out today? No, the picture of us. Threw out a picture of me and Charlie sitting on the couch, and I said, if you're too sick to go to school, then you have to sit at home and watch The Price is Right and Matlock. And so I had The Price is Right on the TV because I'm sorry, if you're too sick to go to school, that's what you got to watch. You don't get to stream, your favorite shows. If you're too sick, you got to watch the same stuff I did. Bold and beautiful, baby.
Yeah, get better.
Sarah said she'll never be sick again. I was like, that's the point.
There you go.
Oh man, what did you what were you drinking on during the game and after the game, Mo? Because I know you were partaking.
No, there was some Rowan's Creek.
Ooh.
And there was that stuff from Virginia that I got. I can't remember. Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
JP, were you drinking on anything during the game and after the game to drown your sorrows?
Yes and yes.
Anything you could, man. gosh.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
that's what Charlie sounds like. She got so mad at me today. She woke up and she was reaching for my sun drop can, and I'm like, "No, you can't have my you can have this Pedialyte because you need the fluid." She wasn't having it, and I said no. And about that time, she went nuts. I mean, just screaming, crying so hard that she eventually threw up, which helps get some of that phlegm out. But boy, she was just having a tough day of it. But after that, after she kind of got going, she was like, "All right, we're good now, and I don't have a fever. I'm happy." So we're getting to the other side of it.
I don't think the women in your house respond to no very well.
Clearly. It's hard to tell her no, though. And it's only going to get harder from here. I got a feeling. You would know, Mo. You would
Have
know.
fun with that.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about some more NFL on the other side. Best weekend in NFL history, potentially.
Except here.
Yeah. Stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
It's the second half. Coming up, reaction to the Titans-Bengals game from Saturday. Andrew the Earl Moore, who was in the building with his Flamehead, will react to that and more. The Band-Aid is ripped off. That's coming up here on Main Street Sports today. Now, back to the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer and Sports Writer of the Year, Mo Patton, and the Sundrop Kid from Alabama, Chris Yao.
Welcome back into a Reaction Monday. It is the second half as we get you up to date with all of the news that is news across the nation. Pardon me, sir. Did you see what happened? That's two Ray Stevens in one show. That's unusual.
It's not a bad thing.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan. All right, so let's start here with a tweet from Bill Shea, who is the senior sports business writer for The Athletic. Because the question I'm going to ask can be answered by his tweet. The question is, was this weekend the most exciting round or divisional round in NFL history? Well, I don't think there's any question that it's the most exciting in recent memory. And after last week, we deserve some exciting games, didn't we?
Well, there you go. I mean, most exciting is certainly subjective, I guess, but most competitive. I mean, when your four games were decided by a combined 15 points, and one of those was in overtime. I can't imagine there being another divisional playoff weekend that went like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Tweets were up 58% year over year. Unique authors of tweets up 42%. Nearly 50% more people tweeting about the NFL this year than last year.
Well, considering so many people had stopped watching the NFL, that's probably a good thing.
I guess it depends.
For
Who
various
knows?
reasons. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, for whatever reasons.
Mhm.
Let's talk about the rest of because we're going to get to the Titans in the next segment and the final segment, and there's plenty to talk about, of course. But the game that followed, a lot was made about Aaron Rodgers' draft night comment, and to be fair, the 49ers probably do regret not taking Aaron Rodgers, as a football player. And who knows what they could have done over that time with him. But that being said, the 49ers come out with a banged up Jimmy Garoppolo and get it done in Lambeau Field, 13-10.
Well, say what you will about the 49ers and Aaron Rodgers, but the 49ers are 4-0 against Aaron Rodgers in the postseason. And Aaron Rodgers, for everything he's done, has won one Super Bowl. So,
which is one more than the 49ers have won since that time.
It
but that being said, I mean, you're right in that he doesn't play well against San Francisco. And, as bad as Ryan Tannehill played on Saturday, I mean, Aaron Rodgers didn't do anything more.
Well, to be fair, Aaron Rodgers didn't throw 3 picks.
But he also, he didn't win the game when he had his chance.
And
he didn't win the game.
And both he and Tannehill had it all laid out right there. I mean, I had said, who wants to go to Green Bay in January having to win to keep their season alive? Well, San Francisco said, hold my beer. So, they didn't seem bothered by it.
Let's be honest here. The punt doesn't happen if, Aaron Rodgers goes and wins a football game.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is just another in the long list of Green Bay special teams snafus. And the Packers against the Bears, now they won, but they allowed a punt return for a touchdown, like a 97-yarder. They kicked the ball out of bounds, tried to field a kickoff that was headed out of bounds. Just the Packers special team has been kind of a dumpster fire at times this year, and it culminated with the final play of their season.
Yeah. And it's tough. I mean, even high school coaches will tell you, offense, defense, special teams. You can't scrimp on that. You can't shave time off there. I mean, you've got to give that the attention it deserves, or it'll get you beat.
And that's question number 2 here. Did we kind of witness the changing of the guard? With now, granted, Joe Burrow threw for over 300 yards, but he didn't have a touchdown, and like 80 of those yards was on the one play on a hitch route that Jamar Chase took forever. But Joe Burrow still looked phenomenal. Made the biggest pass of the season to set them up for the field goal, to a wide open receiver, but that's neither here nor there. And then of course, you've got guys like Mahomes, who we've been talking about for years, and Josh Allen. Tom Brady's gone. He's out. Now Matt Stafford's still around, but Aaron Rodgers.
When you say Tom Brady's out, what? Oh yeah.
They're out of the playoffs. I mean, did you watched a bunch of young guys go out and win playoff football games? It feels like the kind of the changing of the guard.
And those guys, like you say, I mean, Stafford, Mahomes, Burrow, Garoppolo to a lesser degree, but they went out and won football games. Like you said, I mean, your quarterbacks went out and got it done as opposed to being game managers. You know, they were right there in the middle of what it was taking to win ball games. And we don't have that here.
Well, we say that we don't have somebody who can win playoff games. Apparently, I mean, Ryan Tannehill still has the most fourth quarter comebacks of any quarterback in the league since he became the starter in Tennessee. Look,
And I wish he had one more.
you and me both. And we're gonna talk about that. I promise. But before we do, obviously, the last thing that I want to talk about before we get to a break here is overtime. We've beaten this dead horse. We all know what we think about overtime, but is this the straw that's finally going to break the overtime back?
I don't know. I mean, it's like somebody pointed out on Twitter. We had a Super Bowl decided in the same fashion. So if it happening in a Super Bowl didn't do it, then why does it happening in a divisional playoff game do it?
Clearly, that's a great point. I mean, yeah. Now, 28-3 might have had something to do with that. This one was never 28-3, so I don't know. But all of you out there saying defense still matters. You got to play defense. Yeah, that's fine, but nobody ever chooses defense in the NFL as overtime. So clearly, it doesn't mean nearly as much as offense. That's all I'm saying. Oh, all right. Let's do it. We have avoided it long enough, Mo. We got to talk about the Tennessee Titans, and we will do that on the other side of the break. So come back with us on Main Street Sports Today. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back into Reaction Monday here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. We are coming to you from the Lee Company studio, from each of our homes, where we push furniture into people's homes. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Monday, and if you're not, we hope it gets better. It is time to talk about the unfortunate events of this weekend when the number 1 seed Tennessee Titans failed to live up to the hype. The positive is that we were only the worst 1 seed in history for a few hours, because at least we lost to a team that, was at home last week. So I'm just saying. The 49ers,
go look for that one, huh?
The 49ers didn't even play at home last week. They weren't. Were they like a 5 seed or something? Like, come on. So, see, we lost to a higher seed than they did. So clearly, we weren't the worst 1 seed in history. The Packers were. Andrew, the Earl Moore, is on with us, and I asked Andrew if he wanted to come on today and gripe, and I said, react. I figure it will probably be more of the former than the latter, but Andrew, in Nissan Stadium, what was it like?
It was surreal. That was the very first experience I've really ever had in my life. Titans fans everywhere. Yes, there was a lot of Bengals fans, mainly on the opposing side of the stadium, where the Bengals come out of the stadium. But for the most part, it was two-tone blue everywhere. It was loud. It was cold. I'm still trying to get my voice back a little bit, so if I have a little bit of a break in my voice here, I apologize for that. But all of that being said, just the only thing that I can remember is that I walked out of that stadium very sad just 48 hours ago, unfortunately.
Sad seems to be what a lot of folks were saying, right? I mean, there was a lot of head hanging on the way out.
Oh yeah. Oh, there was a lot more than head hanging. There were some questionable personal decisions made by some Titans fans on the way out of the stadium as well. But sad,
Sure.
sad is, I think, is just the perfect word. Maybe disappointed might be even more. It might be a better word than sad.
Wasn't that always the worst, Mo, when somebody would say, "I'm not mad at you, I'm just disappointed"?
Disappointed. Yeah.
That gets you right there.
I've had that one, and I think that's probably the overwhelming emotion. I mean, again, it just felt like it was all right there, and due to some circumstances, you sack the other quarterback 9 times and you lose. I think that is really the biggest disappointment, is the performance you got on the other side of the ball, and to have done no more with it than they did. I think that's what's most disappointing for the large majority of folks.
Yeah. How many times have we sat here since September, outside of week 1, where we said we could have won that game? There were many spots where we could have won that game, and it didn't happen. You throw 3 interceptions, you're not going to win the game. It just is what it is, unfortunately. But my thing that blows my mind more than anything, having 2 days to really ponder about what happened, is, yes, me included, super excited that Derrick Henry was back. The stadium was electric when he ran out of the tunnel. Just having him back, I'm sure, was great for the morale of the team. But why does Deontay Foreman only get 4 carries in the entire game? 4 carries. And he had, on those 4 carries, he had about 10 more yards than Derrick Henry had with 20 carries. Especially on that, I believe it was the second interception, where we're down close to the red zone, and Deontay Foreman single-handedly got you down to that point, and all of a sudden you decide to throw a screen pass that when's the last time a screen pass has ever worked for this team?
And Drew, I'm gonna throw this out. There is a Twitter account out there that did a video compilation of the and it wasn't a screen, it was an RPO. So here's the thing. They blitzed off that side because in that formation, the only play the Titans run from that formation is that RPO. Period. And it's the only RPO in the playbook, obviously, because it's the only one they run. So the defensive back that blitzed knew it was coming. Didn't even go after the quarterback or the running back because he knew what was coming. I feel like in that particular situation, obviously the pre-snap read is blitz is coming, throw to the blitz because you've got numbers on the outside. Except that we had been just absolutely destroying them on the left side of the line for a good quarter and a half. And by the way, the left side of the line destroyed their guys on that play. And had he handed it to number 7, it was 6. That's the most frustrating part. But that goes back to Todd Downing. But that goes back to Todd Downing. Todd Downing with predictability. Whatever happened to predictability? Well, it all landed in Todd Downing's hands because play action pass on the first play of the game, everybody in the stadium knew it was going to be a play action pass. They knew they weren't going to hand it to Derrick Henry because that's what you expect them to do, right? Except nobody expects you, Todd Downing, to know what to do. We always expect you to overcoach.
From where I was sitting up in section 304, yes, everyone knew that. I knew that the first play of the game was going to be play action. I mean, that was obvious, and it looked like maybe for a second, I think he had Julio open.
He did,
but he waited a second or two too long. I mean, I was up there screaming, "He's open! You got him!" And well, he hit the open guy that happened to be wearing black and orange. Unfortunately, I haven't talked much in the last 2 days. I haven't gotten on social media at all the last 2 days. I'm just sick to my stomach. I really am. This is one of the best chances this franchise has probably seen since they've come to Nashville. Probably this year and back all the way in 2000, that this team had a chance to actually win the Super Bowl. And you go out in your home stadium and you just, in a sense, you lay an egg. You have a defense that got 9 sacks. You had a defense that was disrupting Joe Burrow. You for the most part, you kept Jamar Chase in check, except for that one long play that they had, I think, in the first half.
And they only got a field goal out of that.
Exactly. I mean, Joe Burrow didn't even throw a touchdown Saturday. Joe Mixon got that touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just really, like I said, really disappointed, really confused right now. I don't really know what to say other than probably things that I can't say on these airwaves. So I will, I will sit here and bite my tongue.
How do we feel about the 2-point conversion? I mean, obviously Sunday week and Monday morning quarterback it all day, but I was in favor of the 2-point conversion because I'm in favor of the Titans always going for 2 when you have Derrick Henry in the backfield, but I'm not in favor of lining everybody up on the line of scrimmage inside the hash marks and then running.
Which makes it incredibly obvious what you're about to do. I don't hate 2-point conversions. We'll disagree here. I don't understand why you go for 2 on your first touchdown in the game that early in the game.
I think you go for 2 once they had the defensive penalty that put the ball on the 1. As I've been saying all weekend, I think Derrick Henry from the 1, you think is free money, basically. Now, the 2-point conversion decision, I didn't have an issue with. I think, as you said, and as we've said pretty much throughout this segment, the play call.
And the play call wasn't bad. Just the formation. Why is everybody inside the freaking hash marks?
So,
I tried to start a hashtag a couple weeks ago that said down on Downing. Well, I'm officially changing it to out on Downing. It's not as cute and doesn't rhyme as well, but I think it really gets my point across. But unfortunately, and I'm afraid that Mike Vrabel is about to fall into a trap that has kind of plagued former Tennessee Titans head coaches like Mike Munchak and Mike Mularkey, where they're just so loyal to their guys that they're going to keep them around. Now, I think that Mike Vrabel is better than the other Mikes that have been here in the past. I think he's a much better head coach, but if he is not careful, he's already gone out and said that he's going to stand by Downing. He says it's not, in his mind, in his locker room, it's not just a one-man problem, but here in my own personal world, I'm going to say no. There is one person that is an issue, and it was really the only big change that we made to the offense this year, and that was Todd Downing. Even with his full arsenal of players, boring, predictable, nothing exciting. Where were the tight ends on Saturday? He was a former tight ends coach. Like,
that's kind of what I was going to say was, you don't have that playmaker tight end that we've had in the past. And that's something that Ryan Tannehill clearly needs, which is why I think the Titans should go out and get OJ Howard. But, neither here nor there at this point.
I agree to that. Yeah.
But if we're looking at this from a whole perspective, Todd Downing is the one thing that we can point to and say, this is the issue that Ryan Tannehill has. If you go back and to every season before this, yes, he had Derrick Henry the entire time. But even when he had Henry in the first few weeks of the season, when he had Henry on Saturday, the play calling didn't change. Nothing changed because of Derrick Henry. So therefore, it tells me that Derrick Henry was not a factor in the play calling for Todd Downing.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think this might start a really hard and awkward conversation. Are we starting to realize that maybe we're relying way too much on one person in the entire offense to keep this thing rolling? Is it maybe time to start a slow transition? Of course, you have to get the right players for that. And look, Derrick Henry is a beast. He's probably going to be a beast till he decides to hang it up. But got to throw the ball. You got to throw the ball to win in this league, unfortunately, which hasn't really been anything that we've been able to do in the 20-plus years that we've been here in Nashville.
And the thing about that is we've never had the weapons to throw the ball to that are there
Absolutely.
now. I mean, there's not been an A.J. Brown, let alone an A.J. Brown and a Julio Jones.
True. Which, an A.J., that's quietly one of the best. What, you have like 130, 140 yards?
142, I think it was.
Ooh, yeah. Man, and that touchdown in the back of the end zone. Oh, my gosh. That livened the place up, I'll tell you that much. It's just – I really don't know what to say. I'm just hurt is all. I'm disappointed. And it's going to be a long off season sitting here talking about what do we need to do? I've already seen people saying, well, let's release or trade Tannehill. Well, guess what? You can't. There's a $50-something million dead cap space if you trade or release him. Let's fire Mike Vrabel and John Robinson. Why?
That's ridiculous.
That doesn't make any sense. So it's going to be a long off season, unfortunately. For all this.
Hopefully, Vrabel was just coach speaking at the microphone earlier because he wants to have that conversation with Downing before he makes an announcement. And he didn't want to badmouth him. Hopefully, that's the case. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying I hope it is, because if anybody's getting fired, that's the one guy. FYI, the Titans coaching staff will be coaching in the Pro Bowl. So, if you weren't a fan of Todd Downing's play calling in Tennessee, perhaps you'll like it better while he's wearing a lei. I don't know.
You know what? His play calling better not be better at the Pro Bowl than it has been all year, or I'm going to be hot. Let me just tell you that.
I think you should probably probably just not watch the Pro Bowl.
I think I'm going to skip it. I have a outdoor stadium hockey game to get ready for, so I'll be focusing on that.
Oh, Andrew, I'm sorry we had to have this conversation today, but we appreciate it. And we'll talk at you later, man. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Absolutely. Yeah, y'all have a great week, guys.
You too, man. Andrew the Earl Moore joining us to react to the Titans. Mo, I got a couple of questions I want to ask in segment 6, but MLBPA and MLB met today. Some positive news came out of it, so we'll talk about that as well on the other side. So stick around on Main Street Sports Today. We'll be back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in to a Reaction Monday on Main Street Sports Today. Chris Mo Patton coming to you from the Lee Company studio, and apparently a squirrel. Hi there, squirrel. On the roof, just staring me down. What's up? We caught a chipmunk in our skunk trap. So, poor thing was going nuts inside. I mean, just very scared inside that trap. I felt bad. We've caught 2 raccoons and a squirrel. So
no skunks.
No skunks. And I'm pretty sure the bait they're using is Cheez-Its. I'm pretty sure that's what he's putting out on the ground. Oh, man. Well, anyway, it is what it is. At least we got a friend here. I'm in studio. Mo, the question I need to ask is, was the national media right about the Titans? Or was this just an unfortunate performance from the offense that was unusual?
It was an unfortunate performance by the offense. I don't know how unusual it is because, as we just discussed in the last segment, Todd Downing was calling the plays. And so with all that to consider, I think you have to say, yeah, the national media was right about the Titans. I mean, when it was time to, when the rubber hits the road, the Titans didn't get it done. And it's just so inexplicable how you could do the things they did over the course of the regular season. I mean, they beat the Bills, they beat the Chiefs, they beat the Rams. They did all of that. And offensively just stunk it up Saturday. From a play calling and from an execution, from a performance. I mean, again, Foreman only getting 4 carries, running the way he was. Tannehill forcing balls on plays that maybe shouldn't have been called. Just the whole offensive performance as a whole was just a menage,
Especially considering how well the left side of that line played. Ben Jones at center has just been a constant anchoring that line. And then, Roger Saffold probably had the best game he's had all season, and maybe Taylor Lewan too. I mean, seriously, that left side played as well as they've played in the 2.5 years that I've been really paying attention to them. And the fact that on 3rd and 1, you run a read option from shotgun instead of running the bootleg that works 98% of the time from under center. And then you run what I was corrected by Montana Carnes and Nick Deschamps, an inside zone split run, but you run it to the right. And you're zone blocking with the right side of the line that hasn't blocked anybody all day. They got blew up. And yet the left side of the line, both Saffold and Lewan, had their guys in the middle of the field. You run that play to the left and Derrick Henry scores. But again, overthinking and overcoaching cost this team a chance at playing for a Super Bowl. And yet Mike Vrabel seems to be fine with that performance.
I hope, like you said, I hope he's just saying the right things because they are the right things to say, because he doesn't want to throw his guy under the bus or whatever. But I want to hope that some hard conversations are being had at St. Thomas Sports Park, because just the personnel that's there on offense, I don't think it was taken advantage of to the fullest on Saturday.
Well, and I'm going to go back and I'm just going to say, Derrick Henry should have played in week 18. Period. He should have played. Even if he only got 10 carries, he should have played.
I mean, I think, well, the one thing that Steve Laban and the guys on Sunday Sports Central on Channel 5, the point that they made last night was, the chemistry with the offensive line wasn't necessarily there for Derrick Henry having been out for the length of time that he had. And perhaps by playing against the Texans, you get a little bit more of that in game conditions. So, but also
for the people that he does have chemistry with, it would be the left side. So on 4th and 1,
maybe you should have gone that way.
Run behind him.
Or maybe it should have been Deontay Foreman on 4th and 1.
I don't think Foreman again. Foreman's big run came over the left side. Actually, both of his big runs came over the left side. If you go and I don't know if I have it to a point where I can go back and pull it up, but there was a chart that showed carries versus in which zone they ran, and carries and yards, and one of it was, I think Derrick Henry had like 45 yards over the left side, whereas I think he had 3 yards over the right side and 6 yards over the middle, something like that. I mean, it was absolutely like insane how obvious it was where to run the football.
And yet,
and Todd Downing completely just outcoached himself, period. Outcoached himself. And the watch me coach people killing me. Anyway, we have just a few minutes left, Mo.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try to end on something positive.
Okay.
Baseball Players Association and MLB met today. There's not a deal. Of course, nobody expected one. The union did make a broad proposal that included removing some of its past offer. It was contentious, but they're meeting tomorrow, which means that's progress. Because the last time they met, it took 2.5 weeks to get another meeting. So that has to be a good thing.
No question. I mean, the fact that they're talking and continuing to talk or planning to continue to talk, I mean, what was it? They went 43 days without talking the first time. So, yeah, there's got to be some conversation, and ideally both sides are willing to back off of a little bit of what they wanted, because neither of them's going to get everything they want.
Right.
So, yeah. I just don't think the sport can afford not to get started, relatively close to on time.
Yeah, baseball can't afford it. They really can't. I mean, you already got, some issues with your negativity
Optics
toward younger players and optics and timing and all of this, that, and the other. You got plenty of negativity out there.
Too much to add to it.
You can't add to it. That's right. Yeah. So it's imperative that the season start at least sometime around April.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hope. That's all I know, man. That's still positive, though. They're meeting. They're going to meet again tomorrow. Sure. This is good. Let's keep that ball rolling. Let's roll the snow and hope that snowball gets bigger as it continues. So
get a little momentum going with that.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow on the show, we'll have Chip Walters. So he'll talk some MTSU, and we will continue our discussions of college and college hoops, college basketball, college football. There's some transfer portal stuff going on right now, so that's exciting. Some decommitments from Texas A&M. Curious how that's working out. It's just a lot going on in the world of sports. We'll continue talking high school sports as well. So come back tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel here on Main Street Sports today, 2:00 on the podcast. If you missed any part of it, go subscribe, Apple, Spotify, everywhere else. We appreciate it. Follow us at MS_sports today on Twitter. And for Mo and JP, I'm Chris Yao saying have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.